Hello there. It's an absolutely beautiful day again. We had 3 days of frost, night frosts last week, and I don't think that they were forecast, certainly not in my weather forecast, but it's preparing us really for winter. And a couple of people commented on how I sounded quite breathless in my last vlog, and I just wanted to let you know and share that I actually have long COVID, and part of my long COVID has been the damage to my lungs, and even when I speak I can get quite breathless, and if I exert myself a little bit, if I do a little bit of exercise or a bit of jobs, I get quite breathless. And when the cold weather comes, it exacerbates, it makes my cough a lot worse. So you may hear me clearing my throat or coughing, and that's because the cold weather gets on my chest. But the allotment has definitely been a saviour in my recovery from long COVID, getting out in the fresh air and doing some exercise. So please bear with me when I'm sounding breathless and puffed out and coughing. I think during the winter months it will be a little bit worse. Thank you for your understanding. So I'm just going to give this area just a little rake, and then I've got my faithful dibber, and it doesn't matter because this isn't growing as a crop, so I shall just go along with my dibber. And put a seed in every 3-4 inches, and just fill the space so that there's a crop actually growing. This is what I'm putting in. It's used as a green manure. I've got 2 lots. These are some ones left over from last time, so I shall pop them in. So I'm dibbing some shallowish holes, but not so shallow because I actually don't want the mice to discover them. So I shall just finish this last part, and then I would have done this area, and then I'm going to get the rake over it, and then tomorrow I should put some compost on, and hope that the mice don't find them. By planting them a tiny bit deeper, they'll get a good root down, which will help them in the windy weather that we're going to have ahead of us through the winter, and B, I'm hoping that they'll have established themselves enough that the mice will leave them alone. But I might just be fooling myself there. We all seem to have one of those vegetables that other people find really easy to grow, but try as you must, or try as you will, should I say. I just can't grow Swedes. Up until this year, it's been carrots, but I think I've actually sussed the carrot thing now. Well, we'll see next year. But we had good carrots this year, so I'm really pleased. So fingers crossed, I've sussed the carrot thing. But Swedes, well, actually, this one isn't too bad. But look at this monster. Look, it's got 3 arms, 4 arms. Look at that. What kind of Swede is this? I have no idea what I'm doing wrong, but there's quite a few of them like that, with appendages. A couple that are probably okay. Look, there's one there that's sort of okay. And then look at that. Hang on a second. Look at that. That's terrible. Look at that. It's a Swede. And look at this one. Hang on. There you go. So I think Swedes off my menu for next year. Our fig tree got hit by the late cold weather, which meant excuse me, which meant the delay of the figs starting and setting. But this fig tree is now ladened with figs, which unfortunately are not going to ripen. So at some point, I say that, but there might be one or two that is. So I'm going to leave them. And then when I know that we're going to get some really cold weather, I'll take all of the figs off. I wish they'd make some great big bag so that I could cover it and protect it, but this is just too big for fleecing. They are hardy, so they should. It's just that late frost, late cold weather that really hit them. But in terms of getting through the cold weather, they've done really well. So here's something for me to think about for future years, how to protect the fig trees. Chinese greens that I planted in the raised beds are doing really well. Sorry about that. Are doing really well. They're fantastic. Very, very pleased. So we've been cropping from the bed now for the last week, I suppose. But yeah, as soon as these are finished, I'll prep the bed ready for onions early next year. I've got this dowling that I've cut to about, I think it's about 12 inches roughly long, and I'll show you why I've been doing that. I've got a load of this blue piping, water piping, and I've had it for absolutely ages. I've used some of it on things like the strawberry beds, but I've got an awful lot that's just being stored here. So I've decided it's one of those jobs that I've been putting off, but I've decided to make some hoops so I can have some winter and early cover. So these dowels will be going to the ends, the two ends of the hoops, so I can push it into the ground. So I'm going to make some of those this season. I've promised myself. It's only probably the third year when I've done absolutely nothing about it, but it's a bit of an eyesore just being rolled here. I can still store it here, but it'll look better when they're just hoops. So another autumn job on the list. So I've cut a piece 1.5 meters with my trusty hacksaw there. I'm going to just put the two dowlings in each end and see whether or not it's big enough before I cut the others, just because I actually don't know what size I want yet. Oh, it's a really old nippy day today. I'll push the dowling in now at both ends, and I'm going to just try and see how much space. They may actually be too big, but let's have a look and give it a go. I pushed it in fully, so it's quite tall, but I think they'll be fine. I think they'll give me the flexibility that I need. This is a row of spinach here that I've just been netting that I'd like to actually cover through the winter if I had some hoops. But I think that they will be fine, because I don't want them too big. Another good job done. Great. These are the Brussels and cauliflowers. And what else did we plant in here? Purple sprout and broccoli that we planted quite late in the year, and I didn't think that we would have anything come up. But if I zoom in, look, Brussels. I don't think they'll be ready for Christmas, but they'll be ready for soon after. So today's job is just clearing all these yellowing and dead leaves, because this will attract bugs, slugs and things in here to clear it all up. So we're going to give this bed a good old clear up. We've had a little bit of damage on here of some of that horrible brassica like grey fly, which I think you might be able to still see on this leaf. Let me here. So I might just give this a little spray of some soap and water as well while the nets are off. So get a bit of air, have a little look, see how things are going, clean them all up, and then we'll put the nets back on. I'm really surprised how big they've got in such a short space of time. The brassica area is now cleared of all the dead leaves. We've hoed a bit as well to get some of the weeds out, but the dead leaves and anything that was really touching the floor has been taken off, and we've staked up the Brussels sprouts and the purple sprouting broccoli. I mean, they're not as big as I'd like them to be, the broccoli, but they did go in very, very late, just because the potatoes were a lot later coming out. But they're looking really healthy and they're good. And I don't know if you can see, but there's a few Brussels there. I'm not sure that we'll have any for Christmas, but hey, we've got another couple of months, so who knows? We may have some anyway. So this is looking good. We'll put all the netting back down again now. So the netting's all down and covered. This is because if we didn't, the pigeons would just strip this whole area in a second. I'm in the greenhouse and I planted these lettuces approximately maybe 6 weeks ago, and they're ready for a first picking now, and they're looking really nice. I'm very, very pleased. Even though we've had a couple of hard frosts, they're looking really good. The chilli I'm going to take out today at last, this one as well, and the last of the Scotch bonnets. The Chinese veg and the lamb's lettuce and everything are also picking up, and the tray of Chinese greens I had to plant when I lifted the chilies have all been eaten, so I'm very sad about that, but I think I might have something else at home that I can bring down. So I'm just going to cut these at the roots and take off the chilies, and then the next time I come down I'll just clear this little space and bring something down. I think I might have some chard at home that would very happily come in here. So yeah, it's not taken long for the lettuces and spring onions and things to perk up and give a good crop. That's the chilies out, sadly. I could have probably left them in a bit longer, but it blocks out the light and there isn't a lot of light in the greenhouse during the winter, so maximising that is the best thing to do. I'll come and clear all of this debris up, weed, and I'll bring some compost up as well. And if it's a dry day, I'll give the greenhouse glass a wash, again to maximise how much light is coming into the greenhouse. But I'm a tiny bit knackered today, so that's another day's job. Well, this is a ridiculous amount of chilies, and they're really hot chilies from the 2 plants in the greenhouse. I've just sat and picked them off. This is a very large basket and it's bulging. So if you know somebody who wants some chilies, here they are. I hope you've enjoyed joining me on my channel today, and if you've liked the video, please give us a thumbs up. Consider subscribing, it doesn't cost anything, and it'd be lovely to have you join me on my channel again. But until then, wherever you are, great gardening. Take care now. Bye bye.